you.
Well, welcome to the Bradford House. We're going to explore some of the interesting features, interesting rooms of the house, but in particular, this is my man cave room of the house. So follow me, and we'll go down. I'll show you. Walking along. To the back of the house here, we have the outside entrance to the basement, which I'd like to share with you here. So if you want to follow me, we'll explore the foundation here of the house.
Hey everybody, it's Eric, your local historian here, and today I am with John Walcek at the historic Bradford House. How are you doing today, John?
It's great to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. Tell us about the very unique space we are in here at the Bradford House.
Well, this is the foundation of the house. This is a full basement. It was made this way. You can see it's surrounded by cement, I think about 2 feet thick cement, so it's like a swimming pool down here, but it's a full basement. There's a number of unique features about this basement. There's a storm door behind us, as we'll see later.
Right.
And we'll explore the different features that are apparent when you get into the foundation of a structure.
Okay. So basements at the time, I know it's kind of a warm day outside. Right now, we're inside. It's nice and cool in here.
This is like, well, what do they say, like a cave, a constant temperature. Whether it's too hot or too cold, it's always very pleasant down here.
Okay.
So it's one of the nicest places. You could come in here in the hot of summertime, and it's cool and refreshing. And in the cold of winter, it might get cold down here, though.
Okay.
But it's my I consider it my man cave here.
There you go. Now I noticed that the basement is partially dug into the earth,
Yes.
and partially above.
Yes.
So we're sort of how would you say the floor is probably what the floor of the basement's maybe 4 or 5 feet below ground level.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
The unique thing about this is there are windows that are at under the floor level of the house that actually light this basement here. So there's very nice ambient light down here that's very pleasing.
Yeah. Now I notice it looks like we've got some really well-built structure here with what are these? The rafters? What would you call these?
Yeah, this is the subfloor, the rafters. And unique features in here, these 2x4s here, they're not 2x4s, they're true 2 by 12 inch by 30 foot long lengths of rough cut redwood. I don't think they even make this kind of cut this lumber now. I think this is probably from old growth trees that they cut down before.
Before it was all protected,
Right. So it's people marvel at these pieces of lumber, and actually when the packing houses were torn down in downtown Placentia, the wood from the packing houses is bought and sold on the secondhand market, and I think for some of the lumber from the Bradford Brothers packing house went for about $14,000 and got shipped down to South America.
Wow, so then people were reusing it.
It's still valuable today. So
well, and I think the advantage is redwood is termites.
Yeah, insect repellent, termites. People come down here and marvel at what good shape this is in.
Right.
And I can't believe for over 100 years old it still is almost like as built.
Right. That's very good. Yeah. Now I noticed we've got 2 different ways to get into the basement.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about these 2 different entries?
All right. Here is a stairway that comes down from the kitchen. It's between the kitchen and the office now. So we come down inside, and then there's a storm door that they had. These houses were a dime a dozen back on the East Coast, and so I think the inspiration for this was, a nice house on the East Coast here. So here, it's like a luxury to have a full basement. But back east and stuff, these houses are a dime a dozen. But here, it's unique, and so it's one of the treasures of Placentia.
Right. Well, and I understand, I think the Bradfords were originally from Maine.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
having a cellar or having a
This was
basement
kind
would
of
have been
normal.
Yeah.
Normal.
Particularly for East Coast.
Yeah.
Very, very unusual for West Coast.
Yes.
We usually
Yes.
have a garage instead.
I've seen some places with basements, but they're a little cutout in the ground with no
Right.
windows and stuff. But this is a full. Well, it's considered one of the rooms of the house. There's 16 rooms of the house, or 17? Mm-hmm. Which is it? Anyway, I consider this one of the major rooms of the Bradford House.
Right. Now, I know right now you guys are using this space for storage and for some of the different projects, materials that you keep as part of the Founder Society. But 100 years ago when the Bradfords were living here, what would they have been using this space for?
Well, it was storage. They had canning operations where they canned fruit, and they were ranchers, and so a lot of the produce that they grew, you would can it and preserve it down here in the basement. I don't know if we want to get into this, but during Prohibition, a lot of the, shall we say, distilling happened down here.
Ah.
And so you could have your process down here for distilling liquor.
And it's out of sight of the local law enforcement of sorts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. That's I hadn't heard that little rumor there about the Bradfords.
Well, another feature of this basement, I don't know if you saw in the house, there is a dumb waiter.
Yes.
Well, that comes down from here
Okay.
and goes all the way up to the second floor.
Okay.
So you could get your things and you could shunt them up to the
upper
levels,
So whatever it might be, whatever canning materials we might
canning
we might have is going on up there. Well, very good. So it's used for storage, and because it's cooler, you can keep preserved foods and things like that down here.
Yeah.
And then now I noticed that there is the fireplace itself, the chimney comes down and ends here, and is built.
There's a central chimney structure for the house, and the fireplaces upstairs used to have two outlets so it's but there are two separate units. That comes in behind us here. We'll look at that, but it comes in, and the ashes could drain into here, and then you would have a system for keeping up with the ashes and stuff. So that's a repository down here too.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else particular about the basement you'd like to share?
Did I mention the house furnace?
Oh, no, tell us about the furnace.
There used to be 3 gravity-fed gas furnaces.
Okay.
Now, this house was plumbed for gas and electricity. It was ahead of its time then, at the cutting edge. I don't know if you saw gas lights upstairs.
We have explored the gas fixtures upstairs, yes.
Okay, well, there was 3 gas furnaces that just the gravity went up to the floors of the rooms and heated the rooms. So there used to be 3 of them. There is one that we have left here we haven't got rid of, just for discussion purposes.
Right. Now, with I'd heard that they would have had fuel, kerosene, or I don't know that they were using natural gas necessarily then.
No, yes, this is natural gas.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was at the forefront of natural gas being considered a utility.
Okay.
Like electric.
Okay. Do you know if the natural gas was coming from a central station here in the Placentia area, or if they had to keep their own tanks of fuel or things like that here?
I'm not sure about that. I know downtown they were proud of a natural gas piping system that distributed gas, so it was at the forefront of the cutting edge of energy usage back then, over 100 years ago. I don't know. They probably had their own out here on a ranch.
Right. Yeah, because it's a couple of miles to downtown.
Yes.
So I would imagine that wouldn't have come out until much later.
Yes.
So okay, well, very good. Anything else that you'd like to share about the basement area?
There is a new heating and air conditioning units. We put one downstairs here, and that heats the house. And then there's one up in the attic. I don't know if you've been to the attic.
We haven't. We will have to go up there, and you can share some stories from the attic.
I will share some stories from the attic, because The whole attic is kind of rebuilt because this house was restored. It actually caught fire and burned the roof off.
Okay.
So this is a new reconstructed roof and rafters and stuff. They tried to reuse a lot of the lumber, but it is a new roof. And there is a new unit for heating the upstairs, heating and cooling the upstairs. So we have two modern functions here. There's as well as a washer and a dryer down here. There's a tenant upstairs, and the utilities are in the basement.